Good evening, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yeshua. Today is Sunday, the 3rd of March 2024. It's 9:22 p.m. here in Australia. I hope you're all being very well and blessed. Long time no chat. First off and foremost, I am now a grandma. My eldest son his girlfriend has had a baby. She's absolutely beautiful, so I've just been down visiting them for the last week. I was there for the birth. It was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So, but in saying that, just in regards to everything that's going on with all this stuff around the world, I've just sort of been taking a step back and just really been open-minded, researching, looking into all sorts of things and trying to, go towards what I feel is really, really the truth, because I truly believe we are in the era of deception, the ultimate deception before the very, very end. And so I want to be very careful, and that's why I've had such a long absence, because I haven't really felt any draw to anything or been felt led to come on and talk to you about anything. However, last couple of days I've sort of been really thinking a lot about this upcoming solar eclipse that's happening on April the 8th, the total solar eclipse. And, there's a huge deal about it in the rapture watching community and basically the religious community that, this is it. This is going to be, the rapture and all this kind of stuff. So I've been keeping my distance from all of that, because from what I see and what I feel, I'm not buying it, because we've been here so many times before. But however, I've noticed that now apparently a bunch of schools are closing. They're giving people preparedness notice, like, get food and water, and schools will be shut. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's something. So anyway, last night I'm lying in bed. I could not sleep for the life of me last night. I was tossing and turning, probably didn't go to sleep until nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I spoke to Father and I was like, Father, this is crazy. Like, what is going on? Is there any truth? Is it a possibility that there's a rapture? Is the rapture, the pre-trib rapture, is that all true? I just want to know. I really don't care what is the truth. Just please let me know the truth. And then I sort of said to him, please, if there is something to this and it's a rapture, and, I've got all this Millennial Kingdom and the Millennial Reign has already been, if I've got all this wrong, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, oops, sorry, it's all wrong. But I want to wake up tomorrow morning and I want to have an email from somebody telling me about the solar eclipse. I'll take that as a sign to look more into it and to have a bit more open mind, etc., etc. So fast forward to this morning, I get this email from my beautiful sister, and where are we? Not that one. It is this one. And she links me this video, and I absolutely love this channel. It's called The Unexpected Cosmology, and I've watched a bunch of their videos. However, I hadn't seen this video, and this is entitled Kings and Priests of the Millennial Kingdom, the Sacred Geometry of Cathedrals. So, I'm sure like a lot of you guys, you get sent videos and they're long videos and you're like, oh, whatever. And I've had quite a few, oh, please watch this, and please don't go away from the rapture, and watch this, it's true, it's coming, etc., etc. And I just, I haven't wanted to watch them. And even the stuff that I'm interested in, like the Millennial Reign and Tartaria, all that kind of stuff, I haven't really been wanting to watch it. I just, haven't been in that mindset to basically I've been living life, But in saying that, I pressed play, I started watching it, and oh my goodness, brothers and sisters, I felt a flood of Father's presence come back into my soul, which I haven't felt for quite a long time. I mean, I love my Father and his precious Son, Yeshua Jesus Christ, but, I haven't been, really feeling on fire, so to speak. So to have this happen today, and I know when I'm on a roll and I know when I'm in his presence, when I get out the good pen and paper and start writing notes, because it's just like boom, boom, boom in my head, and I'm like writing, I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. This is incredible. So thank you very much, sister, for sharing this with me, because it's opened up a treasure trove of just realizations and puzzle pieces that have been put together. And I'm pretty happy, I'm pretty convinced into the study that I've done today. And I thought I'd just bring it across to you. See how you feel about it. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. We're all in this walk together, and but anyway, I'm just going to get into it because I don't want to make this video too long. But I really do encourage you to please go to this channel, The Unexpected Cosmology, and look for this video. It's a year ago, okay? Just screenshot it maybe. I'll just leave it there, screenshot it, and go and find it, because I can't link stuff anymore. So, with that being said, I have done a huge study this morning, just cut and paste and stuff like this. So, let's sort of just get into it as I go through the pictures and the information. I'll talk to you about it because I really feel like this is what's going on. Okay, so here, these are pictures of Tartarian buildings, okay? I think the Tartaria subject is actually a cover name for the Millennial Kingdom. Okay, they're just covering it up with something, conspiracy-like, but actually it's really the Millennial Kingdom that they're covering up. So what drew me to do this study today and to come and do a video is, in this video that I was just showing you before, it was talking about frequencies and how it affects water and, cymatics and things like this. And it's always been on my mind, when you see these things like, and they put grains of sand on a speaker and then they play a certain frequency and it can make lovely, beautiful patterns, or it can make distorted patterns, regarding what frequency you use, right? So, when I was watching this video today, just all these things occurred to me, and it just makes so much sense into the world that we're living in. So anyway, enough blabbering on. I'll just go through these pictures. So as you can see here, they have these pinnacles or cathedral rods, where we get the word cathedral from, and there's just all this electric energy, and this is why back in the day they would say that they had the free energy. Everything, there was free energy everywhere. You didn't need to pay for it like we do today, and all that technology has just been wiped out or held from us, or covered up type thing. So, okay, the Golden Dome at Notre Dame, Indiana. No photographs exist of its construction. Okay, so there's a whole, I'm going to be here for hours and hours and hours if I get into every little nook and cranny, but go and have a look at the construction of domes. They're just, in all the beautiful buildings around the world, they're absolutely beautiful, and they can create this amazing frequency of sound and healing, and it's just really interesting when you look into it. So here we have Tartarian Old San Francisco City Hall, built in 1899 and destroyed in 1906 by earthquake. Notice the size of people in relation to the structure. So you can see here, this tiny little purse. These people here, let's blow this up a little bit. Okay, it's very blurry, but you can see these tiny little people. I mean, look at the size of the structure compared to the size of the people, right? And they've all got these spires on top of them, which is where they had, they were able to get the frequency, the power, the energy from the ether. And, so much stuff that I really feel what's happening is, how Christians are told, stay away from all the New Age stuff where they're talking about crystals and healing and frequency and all this stuff. To be honest, brothers and sisters, I've always had a heart for New Ages and stuff because their view of things and, how they view the world and what they see coming is a lot more positive than what Christians are seeing. And that is pretty much the base of my video tonight is Christian perspective of the future. I think this is where the real danger is coming in, and we as a collective bunch of Christians with our end of the world, the tribulation, the mark of the beast, the head getting cut off, all this stuff, I think we are collectively as a whole projecting this evil, wicked, ugly, bad, negative energy, to be honest. Not intentionally, of course not, but we are so focused on the end of the world and the destruction and the evil and the, the catastrophes and just basically building up Satan, and his plans and stuff like this, and constantly focusing on all of this kind of stuff. And, anyway, so I just want to note here on this picture here, notice it says that the San Francisco City Hall was built in 1899 and destroyed in 1906 by the earthquake. Now remember the video I did quite a while back where I was talking about the tram line, okay, and San Francisco. Basically there was a street called Market Street, and they had this big news conference press thing because they opened this brand new tram line. And all it was a tram line that went from the beginning of Market Street all the way to the end, where the terminal had a plaque on it, said this building, this tram line, all this has been erected in the year 896. Okay, clear as day, it was 896. And now, this day and age, it says 1896. This is all to do with the adding of the 1,000 years to... Because remember, it says, he tries to deceive us by times and laws and things like this. So we can't be so close-minded to say, how could 1,000 years been added onto the calendar? How would you even know, brothers and sisters? Because way back when the church really dictated the majority of the world, whatever the church said went. People went to the Catholic Church and the cathedrals and everything, and the priests would talk in Latin. Everyone would just sit there and say amen. They had no idea what was, they were in control of time, dates, calendars, all this stuff. So it would have been very easy. And in the videos that I've shown you the documents, the proof, how they whitewashed, the letter I turned to the letter J, and then it's been whitewashed to the number 1. So instead of in the year of Isis, before they had J, or in the year of Jesus our Lord, right, it would be in the year of J, 776. And then that got whitewashed, that J got whitewashed and became in the year 1776 instead of J776. So I just want you to note too, in that video that I did, I talked about the year 1906, okay? It was 3 days after they showed that footage of the tram line being first made and, had the plaque was set and everything in 896. 3 days after that footage was this very earthquake. And then all of a sudden it became 1906. So there you have 1,000 years and 1,000 years plus 10 years added straight away, overnight. And this 1906, there was earthquakes, big earthquakes. I'm talking 8.8 to 9 all over the world. And I showed you this in my videos. It's like there was a collective agreement to try and, cover this up on a worldwide scale. And this is where I think the mud flood theory comes into it, because, this is, I suppose, Satan's attempt at a flood, a global flood. But anyway, so these buildings here, I truly believe, brothers and sisters, they are the millennial reign. I believe that the millennial reign has already happened, and the saints that were beheaded, and that comes all down to Nero again. Nero was the worst. I'm not going to go into this too much because I've already done a video, the previous one to this, all about Nero and things like this, and how the church as a whole, the Jesuits and all this, came up with a, when the Protestant movement came out, they had to do something to counteract, okay? And so their counteract movement, the Jesuits' counteract movement, was to create futurism, okay? So everything that was in the past, they shipped off into the future. So it was very, very clever, very, very clever. But, when you look into these buildings, brothers and sisters, you'll see that none of them had any toilets. None of them had any bathrooms and things like this. And people are like, how? Where did they go to the toilet? You can't tell me 1,000 years ago people didn't have to go to the toilet. Well, after watching this movie today that the sister linked me, it made so much sense, because the people that ruled and reigned with Christ on this earth, they were eating manna, and manna is the bread of, or the food of angels, right? And it basically just dissolves into your mouth, and it can be whatever your taste preference is. That's what it is. If you like sweet stuff, it's sweet. If you like sour, salty stuff, it's salty, etc., etc. But there's a book that's referenced in this video. It's called The Legends of the Jews. And they basically go right into this, that, this is why the people, this is why God got ticked off about the people complaining about the manna. And, why the, why the chosen people, the Israelites, got that taken away from them, because they're just a stiff-necked bunch of people, and they rejected God over and over and over again. And so, it was given to the Gentiles, and the people who are really searching for our Father and his kingdom, right? But anyway, I get sidetracked. But the reason that's why they didn't have toilets, okay? Because they didn't need, the energy was, can you imagine Christ, you're ruling and reigning with Christ, the frequency would be so off this chart. Everything would be perfectly healthy, perfect. The presence, okay, the presence of Jesus Christ with you, you're ruling and reigning with him. There would be no need for, okay, so look at it this way. What do we eat? Why do we eat today? Why do we eat? Why do we sleep? For energy. We eat food for energy, right? If you're ruling and reigning with Christ, you don't need to eat for energy, because the energy, the frequency, the source is right there. So, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So here's just some, look at this, brothers and sisters. Look at this architecture, and all of it. And why do we not build like this today? Why do we not build anything like this today? And this comes all to do with the frequency, the sound, the cymatics. It's just so complex and so beautiful, yet so simple to understand. It just makes so much sense. This is why they have all these spires on top, which were able to take the energy from the atmosphere. Okay, and this is why I think Jesus Christ said that, the powers and principalities of the air, that's who we're really fighting against now, because it's their domain. It's Satan's time now. So they're the rulers of the air. They're the rulers of the frequency right now. We see in Revelation 20, right, that Satan has authority to deceive the nations, the four nations of the earth. So it's effectively Satan's time right now. But this is not something of an evil history. This is, there's so many things. I mean, just go and look for yourself, the buildings, the architecture, and they want to say, oh yeah, this is the Renaissance, or whatever the word is, but, or Greek, the ancient Greek architecture, etc., etc. No, brothers and sisters, this was absolutely beautiful. Just, they knew how to cultivate the sound, and that's why they had organs in the churches and bells, and these churches and buildings were places of healing, instant healing. There was no sickness, or death or disease or anything like this, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And all these things like the gargoyles and all that kind of stuff got added on later, that got added on later to these buildings. I mean, look at this beautiful, the angels with the trumpets blowing. All these beautiful, stained glass windows, and just the beauty, okay? I mean, look, can you imagine these coliseums, or whatever they're called, where they have music and opera, and, it's a well-known fact that, a pregnant person, if you put earphones over their belly and let the baby listen to Beethoven and things like this that have this beautiful, perfect frequency, it does wonderful things to the cell of your body. It creates separation between each cell and just makes you completely healthy. And there's a whole big thing behind it, but I want to keep moving on for the sake of time. Okay, what is the lost empire of Tartaria? The lost empire of Tartaria may have more roots in the modern world than we realise, or is it a conspiracy? In 2019, many people watched in horror as black smoke poured out of Notre Dame in Paris, the 12th century Roman Catholic cathedral. An orange blaze spread across the roof, and it seemed the historic building might be lost. After the fire went out and the experts assessed the water damage, some people may have felt comfortable that a restoration plan was in place, but conspiracy theorists who believed in the Tartarian Empire felt otherwise. To them, it was just another example of Tartaria architecture being demolished. And brothers and sisters, when you look into this stuff, every beautiful thing that exists or could prove that the millennial reign was in our past, they destroy it. They destroy it. And remember back when this happened, they saved the crown of thorns. Okay, this particular church held the crown of thorns which our Messiah, Yeshua Jesus Christ, had on his head. Okay, they saved that from there. And so, there's a lot of stuff to look into, okay? A lost empire. One confusing aspect of the Tartarian Empire conspiracy is that there was a place and people long referred to as Tartars living in Tartary. Okay, and go and have a look at Siberia. Okay, I'm very interested in Siberia. You would have noticed the video I did last was talking about how the magnetic North Pole, it moves. It's been moving, and they've been tracking it since 1879 or something like this. And in 2019, it was in Canada, but it is moving towards Siberia. Okay, so I did a whole big study of Siberia, and it looks to be that's where the camp of the saints will be when this all goes down, brothers and sisters. When the devil will gather the four nations, which I believe is in the process right now, to go and battle against the camp of the saints and go up to the breadth of the earth and battle against them. And I believe it will be in Siberia. And this is why there's such a big predictive programming for us to hate Russia. Okay, there's so much, you know, what do you call it? Propaganda against Russia and all that kind of thing, and so much history. And this is actually where Tartaria lies, you know, where that the cover-up called Tartaria actually lies. But they still have to this day people from, and they're called Tartar. What is it? Yeah, Tartars. Or however you say that, Tartars. Okay, they still have these people. You can look it on Wikipedia. And, you know, this Siberia, Russia, Asia, this is what the book of Revelation was talking about, okay? The 7 churches of Asia. They're literally talking about what Tartaria, you know, that area. So, you know, and, you know, we've got to take the Bible more literally. If they're saying the 7 churches in Asia, you know, and then it's like Laodicea, Smyrna, you know, Pergamos, these were all places back then. They don't exist anymore, okay? Because John was talking about now, just as Matthew, Mark and Luke were talking about in their generation. So, but I won't get back into that because, you know, the last video I did, I talked about how Jesus was very plain when he spoke. He didn't speak in confusing language. When he said, some of you standing here will not see death until you see me coming in the kingdom. And then 2 verses later, the transfiguration event happened and they were able to witness Christ coming into his kingdom. Okay, so I think we need to reread the scriptures with, unsealed eyes. So here's the map of, so-called Tartaria, which is all like Russia, Asia, China, all that area there. And so Western Europeans and Russians used to refer to a region in Asia as Tartary. This area included Siberia and parts of Central Asia, including Mongolia and stretching as far south as Afghanistan. By the 1800s, some Russians saw their country as the world power in the east and entitled to the land and its resources. The word Tartar meant barbarian. In the mid-1600s, Italian writer Martino Martini wrote Di Bello Tartarico about his travels in China. His work was translated into other languages and helped vaguely apply the term to a wide range of people. A wide region of people. So yeah, there's just all these pictures here, and I thought, because when I was looking at Tartarian buildings, this picture, of what I showed you in my last video, of the map. Let's see if I'll zoom it in. Now this one here. I was talking about this because this is a picture, ancient maps. This was all on all of the ancient maps, and then they removed it. And what we call this now is the North Pole. Okay, and this is why when you go on Google Earth, it's just a big white space. They've just filled it in with this white thing to represent just snow, and people can't go there. There's the Antarctic Treaty, etc., etc. But on all the old maps, this here, and it's exactly the Garden of Eden with the 4 rivers that come out, exactly how it's explained. And right in the middle is the Rupus Nigra, which is a giant black magnetic rock. And this is where I believe the Camp of the Saints is. And this is where I believe is where the Garden of Eden is, where the Camp of the Saints is, where Yeshua Jesus Christ and the saints are to this day, okay? And this is where I think the 4 nations of the earth, when they're gathered to battle, they'll be coming towards Siberia and Russia. when this goes down, okay? So I just thought that was very interesting that they had a picture of that there. So I typed in the North Pole is Siberia, and then there's all these articles here, you know, and these aren't just conspiracy articles. These are Discover Magazine, Newsweek, New Scientist, you know, Scientific America, you know. Why is the North Magnetic Pole racing towards Siberia? Earth magnetic North Pole follows unusual path, races towards Siberia. Okay, it's not just me saying this. This has got a lot of facts behind it. You know, they're tracking it. There's even a NASA project operation that's actually tracking this North Pole and keeping an eye on it. And anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, so here's Discover Magazine, Planet Earth, Earth Magnetic Pole has begun racing towards Siberia. To follow this link, please hold down Control and click. So we'll go here. Okay, see, Earth Magnetic North Pole has begun racing towards Siberia. And then it's saying here, just an article on it. Then in 1990, it suddenly began to accelerate northwards. In 2017, it passed the geographic North Pole and is now heading south towards Siberia. Scientists usually update the position of the magnetic pole every 5 years, but in 2019 the movement was so fast and unexpected that scientists were forced to issue an extra irregular update so that navigation devices that relied on it could be corrected. Okay, so this here is a map, and it starts here and it's got all the years, you know, there's like, I think it's 1833, you know, 1990, 2000, 2001. So it's moving, brothers and sisters, up towards Siberia. And I'm telling you, Siberia is a lot of I want to use the word conspiracy. There's a lot of things that are going on there that are hidden. There was a huge so-called nuclear or meteorite event that happened in Siberia, right? It just blew thousands and millions of trees flat to the ground and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe that's where Satan fell. You know, maybe that's exactly where Satan fell and he caused a big crevice. I don't know. That could very much explain why that event happened in history, right? So, so here again, then in 1990 it suddenly began to accelerate northwards. I just read that, just going towards Siberia. So, and here I found another article. This is about the sun. The sun's magnetic pole will flip in 2024. Here's what that means. Okay, so this is very interesting considering what I was looking at. I just had to show you this as well because this is February 7th, 2024, this article. And I'll just go here as well and show you this article. So they're saying the sun's magnetic poles are about to flip and it could cause lower latitude northern lights, more intense solar storms and potential danger for astronauts and satellite communication. However, experts predict there's no overt cause for concern. Of course they do. So basically, basically this whole article is about how it's intense solar storms and northern lights in places where it normally wouldn't be, and we've seen already a lot of that already. So I just thought that was quite amazing because the whole prophecy behind the 3 days of darkness is there's the northern lights will be seen all around the world as a warning, a pre-warning, okay? And 3 days of darkness, yes, it's a Catholic prophecy. It doesn't matter. We've got to be open-minded to wherever, it says in the Word of God, it says, do not despise prophecy, but hold up everything against the Word of God, okay? And in the story of the Exodus, which is the Word of God, there was darkness for 3 days, okay, in the Exodus story. And that's in Exodus chapter 10. And people say, oh yeah, well, that happened in the Old Testament. But it also says there's nothing new under the sun. What happened before will happen again. So I don't understand why people just want to throw this 3 days of darkness theory out, or, prophecy out. And it's amazing the connection. I'm sort of starting to think with, well, maybe this is why they're saying, oh, schools will be closed on this solar eclipse. Get some food, get some water, get some supplies. Schools are going to be closed. Are they expecting the 3 days of darkness to occur around this time? And, I don't know. Who knows? And then I wrote, is this why the New Ages are suggesting the solar flash, okay? Because you have a look at any New Ager, they're talking about going up to the fifth dimension and, transcending and all this kind of stuff. Is this what's going to actually go down? Is something going to go with the sun? And, I've done videos about how the sun projector, the sun simulator, you can look into the moon simulator and projection. It's crazy how much we've been lied to. Okay, it's absolutely crazy how much we've been lied to. And it also says in the book of Revelation 2 that the sun will scorch men with heat. So this is all Satan's authority that he's able to do. And I truly believe he's the one who controls the weather and the sun and the moon. Okay, that's why the moon and the sun are doing weird things now. And, they're not staying on the orbit that Father has, set out for them, but they're under the control of the enemy. And this is why, we don't have a yellow sun anymore. We have a white phosphorus sun. I did a whole thing about the difference between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Genesis 1 is with the Elohim, which means, this is where they get... look, I don't want to go into that too much again, but basically... I truly believe that Genesis 1 is the Elohim's creation, and Elohim is not our Father in heaven. Okay, there's one thing I want to mention before I forget. This may throw a lot of people off, but to me it makes complete sense. And that is the fact that the God of the Old Testament is not actually our Father in heaven. Okay, and it makes a lot of sense because of all the sacrifices, all the blood, all the rage and the wrath that went on. And one example of this, I want to show you quickly while we're here, before you tune out and go, oh my goodness, how far have you fallen down? But I just want to show you one example. I've felt this for quite a while, that the Old Testament and the New Testament are, so conflicting. Okay, so let's have a look at something. Yahweh. Is that how you spell Yahweh? Yep, Yahweh. Okay, we're going to go to the Names of God Bible. And I want to show you something. So, we're told that the name of God is Yahweh, right? And just before I show you this, I probably would say close to 15, 20 years ago, I was at the shops and I saw someone with a really, really nice car, and they had the number plate Yahweh 666, and that's always stuck in my head big time. And I just want to show you something first. So the Names of God Bible translation, the word Yahweh. Okay, so we're going to click on that, and we go over here, we see results per page. There's 5,849 mentions of Yahweh, but nothing, brothers and sisters, nothing in the New Testament. Okay? Nothing in the New Testament. Now, you know, and also this, okay, Jesus plainly said to the Pharisees and Sadducees, you are of your father the devil. Okay? You are of your father the devil. And Yeshua never calls his father Yahweh or Jehovah or any of these other names. It's our Father in heaven. And that's why he says, don't call anybody on earth your father, because you've only got one Father who is in heaven, right? Look, there's just so many lies, and it does make sense to me, because when you read the story of, the Exodus too, it literally says that, Yahweh hardened the Pharaoh's heart. So it's kind of like unfair, really. You know what I mean? Like, it just, and also too, when Adam and Eve sinned, right, and they received coats of skin, and like, why? Why did the animal, the lamb, had to, be slaughtered to give clothes to Adam and Eve? It doesn't make sense. And when you have a look at all the, the feasts and stuff like this, thousands upon thousands. I mean, you could imagine how many of the Israelites there were. Thousands upon thousands of bulls and calves and chickens and doves and all these sorts of things had to be slaughtered all the time. That just makes no sense why a loving Father, who is love, who is the essence of love. In the New Testament, he talks about how much he loves the little bird, and not a little bird would fall out of a tree. And the flowers in the field, they're dressed more beautifully than Solomon's temple. It seems very, right to me that this theory is correct, and it makes sense. And it's kind of like, well, the Old Testament God was for the Jews, was for the Israelites, and that Jesus, the Son of God, came to show us the right way, the truth, which set us free, Because it says no man has ever seen God. No man has ever seen God, except Yeshua, who's in the bosom of the Father. He has declared him. Okay? Jesus Christ was a representative of the Father, because Jesus is the image of the invisible God. But in the Old Testament, it says in a couple of places that, that they seen God and things like this. And, wherever he was, there was just fire and smoke. And there's even one part, and I have to find it, and if you know, please put it down in the comments. But it does say that smoke and fire came out of the nostrils of God in the Old Testament, of Yahweh. Okay? Smoke and fire out of the nostrils. Now, who else does that? A dragon? So, look, you don't have to agree with me on that, but just check it out, because it makes sense why Jesus said, you are of your father the devil, and you're a murderer and liar who is a murderer and liar from the beginning. And it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeshua Jesus Christ tells us also that our home is not here on this earth. Our home is in heaven. Okay, we belong. I truly believe that we were all in heaven before this all went down. And this is why our names were written in the book of life from the foundations of the world. Okay, I truly believe that when Satan, when pride was found in his heart, and before he fell, and, he was, conspiring with other angels and, other, all of us, basically. And so Father was like, because he's fair, he's beautiful, he's just, and he gives us free will, I think this whole earth experience is for all of us to go through, so that free will can be completely displayed. We all had to come down here, have this human experience. This is why our home is not here, but it's rather in heaven. And this is why when we're absent from the body, when we die, we're present with the Lord straight away. Okay, and it just makes a lot of sense to me. So anyway, big sidetrack. Okay, this is about the magnetic pole reversal again. They're talking, this was part of that article of the sun flipping, okay, and causing these northern lights all over the world. And they're saying it could possibly be like the Carrington event of 1859. Okay, the Carrington event was worldwide aurora borealis, okay, the northern lights everywhere around the world, and it destroyed 200,000 kilometres of telegraph lines were adversely affected. Okay, so is this why they're talking about, communication blackout, the cyber attacks, all this kind of stuff? They seem to have all these new political words, scientific words for things that they know are about to happen, but they're describing it, in modern day terms. And but what's really going on is that this is all about to be wrapped up soon. Okay, what changes will the 2024 pole reversal bring? Like I said, with the Carrington event. As it says here, predicted that this year's pole reversal, which will likely happen between April and August, should be nothing to worry about. Interesting that it's going to happen between April and August of 2024, brothers and sisters. So, this solar eclipse could prove, I don't believe it is the rapture, brothers and sisters. I believe what's happening, and this is what I'm trying to get at with this video, with the frequencies, this whole, what would you call it, law of attraction, right? What you believe, what you think, what you feel, that's what you're going to attract into your life. Now, like I said before, the billions of Christians around the world who see this as, the tribulation's coming, or, the mark of the beast is coming, and they're focusing on this negative energy aspect of this all, the elites aren't stupid. They are using that combined energy, the bombardment of negative energy, to try and bring on this battle. I really believe they're trying to bring on this battle. And I think this is their final, possibly one of their biggest final attempts to, maybe this is when the falling away is going to happen. Okay? Because they're pumping and predicting that this, that they're doing their side and making it look like, it's going to be catastrophic. Whereas the Christian people pick that up and go, yeah, that's because Jesus is coming back and we're going to get raptured. And, and then when it doesn't happen, when it comes and goes, because everything is in our Father's, in his hands, when he says, that's when, when his will is, that's when it will be, not in ours and not in the elites' will. But, but they keep doing this, hanging the carrot on a string, saying, yeah, we're doing all these things and it's making it look like the rapture's about to happen. We've been here for so many years. The boy who cried wolf scenario over and over with this Q movement. You've got all groups, the Christians, they believe in the rapture and all the tribulation, right? And this is the end of the world. Then you've got the Jews who are expecting their Messiah. They've got the red heifer. They've got all the stuff for the temple being built. Then you've got the Q people, the Trump people, who are like, let's make America great again. And then you've got the New Agers who are looking for this solar flash. Now they've got the whole world in different aspects combining this energy that something huge is going to go down. We're all looking for that in one way or the other. And they're loving it. They're absolutely loving it because energy is energy, however they can get it. And especially when it's fear-based, it's like gold to them. So I truly think, brothers and sisters, that this is a lot of the reason why I'm making this video today, before Passover, before the solar eclipse, is because I want to give you my heart and a warning to not be deceived. We're living in the final age of deception, as it says in Revelation 20, that he goes out to deceive the four corners of the earth. This is his last hurrah, and he's going to try and bring as many people. It says because they hated the truth and they loved the lie, so many people is going to have the greatest delusion of all time. And so many people are going to be damned to hell, that's literally what it says, because they hated the truth. Because they hated the truth. And you don't have to take my word for it, but I'm just trying to show you, some things for you to take away and go and have a look on your own, because I think this is what's going on, brothers and sisters. It makes so much sense that, these things have come to pass, like Matthew 24, Matthew 24, where it says, for then shall come great tribulation, such as never has been and never will be again. And, in Luke 19, it says that, you didn't know the day of your visitation, and, armies are going to come and surround you and dig trenches. Okay, the day of your visitation. So many Christians hold that to, the rapture, the day of the visitation, the one that we're supposed to watch and look out for and stuff. But yet it says, the armies are going to surround you and build trenches. That's exactly what happened in the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. All these things had come to pass. Read the writings of Josephus. Right? Flavius Josephus in the Antiquities of the Jews. Okay, they talk about the heavenly armies fighting in the air, on the clouds. Okay, and the time of the destruction of the temples was the worst time in history. It was so bad, brothers and sisters, when you look into what happened during that time. They were literally, the Jewish people were literally eating their young because they were starved and because they were captured in, and it just is so horrendous and so such the worst time that ever was and never will be again. And it was for, like Daniel 9 said, for his holy city and his holy people. Okay, it was for them. And just like Jesus said, in your generation, some of you standing here, the people I'm talking to, even in John, these things must surely come to pass quickly. Okay? And then the scholars want to say, oh yeah, well, Revelation was written in 1980. No, 19 AD. It was not, brothers and sisters. It was written in 67 AD, the book of Revelation, which makes so much sense. There you have the 3.5 years, okay, from 66 AD, okay, they started getting attacked. This wasn't just an overnight thing. The temple started getting surrounded and everything, and then the Romans, the Romans came and went, they came back and whatever, and God gave them time to move. 3.5 years, 42 months, 1,260 days, he gave them time. But they didn't listen. They loved their temple more than their God. Okay? And they got devoured and taken over. Just like all the other. And the people who listened, who knew the time of the visitation, they did flee. They fled and they were protected in the wilderness. This happened, brothers and sisters. This has already taken place. Where we are now, because a lot of people think, all right, well, what does that make us? Where are we? Are we just hanging out in, purgatory, some kind of, time shift? No, we're we're in Revelation 20, brothers and sisters. We are where Satan has the authority to deceive the whole world. And how did he do that? With sorcery and pharmakia. Look around. Has the whole world not been deceived by sorcery and pharmakia? Okay, sorcery. Make America great again. MAGA literally means sorcery. Literally means witchcraft. Okay, the whole world has been deceived by pharmakia and sorcery. We are living in that time. And Satan's only got a short season. And I'm going to get to where I think how close we are to the end at the end of this video. But anyway, so this is just all things. So where is the Earth's magnetic north located? And then it gives you the degrees here, 86.146 degrees north by 146.826 degrees east. Okay, this is basically where it is, where it was in the year 2017 in Canada. Ellesmere Island in Canada. Okay, that's where the north geomagnetic pole was. Now, and it's moving so fast now that it's almost reached Siberia. Okay, so it says, ever since it was discovered in northern Canada in 1831, the North Magnetic Pole has been moving northward across the Canadian Arctic towards Russia. According to the NOAA, a survey conducted in 2007 determined that it was moving at about 34 miles per year, but a recent survey showed that it had slowed down to about 28 miles per year. This here, Operation Iceberg, this is from NASA, okay? This is the NASA's Operation Iceberg images Earth's polar ice in unprecedented detail to better understand the processes that connect the polar regions with the global climate system. Icebridge utilizes a highly specialized fleet of research aircraft and the most sophisticated suite of initiative science instrument ever assembled to characterize annual changes in the thickness of sea ice. Okay, so this thing here is literally made, and it's the most sophisticated instrument to follow where this magnetic pole is. Okay, now this is probably all over the place, this video, but Dr. Masura Emoto and the water consciousness. Many people would have known this already. This basically, in a nutshell, if you don't know what it is, there was this Japanese or Chinese doctor who did the experiment where, you know, he put under the microscope. Oh, here, I'll show you. There's pictures of it down here. This is water, and basically what they did was drops of water under a microscope, and the each drop of water, this one had love and gratitude. So the people would say lovely things, they'd be grateful, they'd be thankful, and this is how it turned out. Then they would say things like, you disgust me. Okay, and this is how the molecule of water would look. Okay, horrific, hellish. Okay, here, eternal. Look at this, beautiful, eternal, peace. Okay, peace. Evil. Look at this. It's like a black void of hell. And thank you. Look at the symmetry of these beautiful words. And this is what I'm trying to get at, brothers and sisters. This is what I believe and how the Millennial Kingdom buildings were created, from frequency, from water, from I'm not a scientist and I don't know how to explain these things very well, but I think this is why they had the organs, the bells, the domes and the beautiful paintings and the expressions of angels and symphonies and sounds, and this is how I think it was done. There was such a beautiful frequency that no evil could exist whilst there was a millennial reign, whilst Christ was ruling and reigning with, you know, the saints. So this is just some notes I wrote. Cymatics, which frequency in water, created the Millennial Kingdom buildings. Today's music plus fear creates a dark, ugly world. And I was thinking, this is the reason, brothers and sisters, why they don't create these buildings anymore, why they can't create these buildings anymore. Because the music of today, and that'd be an awesome study to look into just alone, the music of today would, they have such a terrible frequency behind it. It's missing one or two octaves or whatever, and it can create, just depression and disease and everything within a body, and we're just, screaming in worship to it, to our favourite fans and all this kind of stuff. I think this is the real reason why we can't build these buildings today, is because of the frequencies. It just, so anyway. The upcoming eclipse is the elite's greatest psyops to create worldwide negative energy situation. The Christians expect Jesus' return, the Jews expect their Messiah, and the New Agers expect a timeline shift or a solar flash. And this is why the programming of the schools closing and the 3 days of darkness is being pushed, so that it seems as though all expectations from everybody will be played out. Our phones that we have, the food, the water, the music will all play a part in the coming catastrophic event, creating a bombardment of negative energy. This is what they've been striving for, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, you cannot be a part of this. Okay, and I was sitting there and Father just placed on my head, why do you think John 3:16 is so popular, is like the number one verse in the Bible that almost the whole world knows, even if you don't know anything about the Bible or Jesus? John 3:16, it's all in the movies, the crazy people, the homeless people with the cardboard cutout saying the world is near, the end of the world is near, and John 3:16. Because what does it say? Whoever shall believe in the Son shall not perish. Whoever shall believe, it's belief. It's all about our intentions, our belief, our faith. This is why faith is so important. This is why belief and trust. And it's just been put on my heart now about the 7 things of, like love, patience, kindness, charity. Those things, brothers and sisters, wow, I'm getting the Holy Spirit right now. Those things, those 7 things that are good for us, that we should be thinking and meditating on all the time, I think that's the healing. That's the healing frequency. We need to, this is something that I want to do. Like, I'm really excited. I'm going to change my whole world. I'm literally going to change everything about my world come tomorrow, because this has really impacted me today. I want a completely different diet. I want a completely different outlook. I want to be thankful. I want to start meditating. I want to eat only fruit and water, and just have all around me thanks and gratitude and love and patience and kindness. I want to really focus and meditate on these things, because I think that's the key to everything, brothers and sisters. It's absolutely the key to everything. And this is why maybe it says, many are called but few are chosen. That verse is there for a reason, brothers and sisters. We can't just push it aside and say, every Christian that believes is going to be, raptured on out of here. It's not true. It's many times it says, many will come to me in that day saying, Lord, Lord, didn't I do all this in your name? But he's going to say, I don't know who you are. Get away from me. And, like I just said, many are called but few are chosen. Maybe this is it, brothers and sisters. This is the truth. It all comes down to the frequency, to the belief, to the trust, to the faith, and to get out of this, like it's coined that term, get out of the matrix. Okay, and it's funny that the word matrix actually means the womb. So, but we need to get out of what the elite have scripted for us. Okay? What the elite have scripted for us. It's very dangerous, okay? John 3:16 is the key. It's belief. It's the law of attraction. And this is what I was saying earlier, where, I have a heart for all these new ages, and because of their happiness and their mindfulness and their gratitude and their thankfulness and their kindness, we see that this day and age as, these hippie people, or these lovey-dove tree huggers, all this kind of stuff. Why have we got such a negative connotation towards these people? Think about it, brothers and sisters. The way these people are is the way we should be. it's the way we should be. Think about it when, just a cool fact, in Ezekiel when it talks about, Satan, or when it says, when Father was talking about Satan, he said, about, he was covered in every gemstone and ruby, and he was so beautiful, and he was perfect until the day iniquity was found in him. Did you know that every gemstone that was listed in Ezekiel, which is 9 gemstones, it's 9 gemstones out of the 12 gemstones that the New Jerusalem has been made of? Did you know that? So effectively, Satan fell on the 9th level, like he was creating the 9th level, and that's when he must have just been so full of pride and so full of, because looking at himself saying, I'm so beautiful, he was the choir, the head of the choir. The morning, he brought in, like the birds sing in the morning, they're worshipping the Father in heaven, they're giving thanks. That's what all the animals do. But Satan had pride in his heart and he fell. But that's beside the point. But that's a pretty cool fact. Okay. But yeah, the law of attraction, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, the law of attraction, it's we've got such a negative thing of crystals, and nobody here is worshipping crystals. Even the people who have crystals around them, the New Ages, whatever, they're not worshipping the crystals. They are seeing the oh my goodness, like heaven will be crystals and gold and diamonds and pearls and transparent gold. The evil ones have made us fear and reject all of this stuff and say, oh, it's all New Age, it's evil, wicked, stay away from all this stuff. But in matter of fact, this is all the stuff that we're going to be surrounded with in the New Jerusalem. And I just think we need to take a step back and really have a look at who's lying to us. And why we are told that this is bad, or like for instance with the King James Bible, this is the only Bible that should be read in the churches. It's the only authoritative version that should be read in the churches. Straight away, my heart's like, ding, ding, ding. No, any elite person, or bunch of Pharisees and Sadducees, or modern day Pharisees, right, telling me that this is the only Bible that should be read, and then have a look into King James. I've done a video about this. He was a king. He took words out of the Bible that he didn't like, okay? Where it says, we don't fight against flesh and blood, but we fight against the rulers and principalities of the air. In the original Geneva Bible, it says we fight against the governments, okay? And the principalities of the air. The governments of this world, brothers and sisters. But he took that out in the King James Version. Come on, we need to understand that, we're getting played. We're getting played. So, as I was sitting there, and as Father's revealing this about the John 3:16 is the key, because belief, the law of attraction, faith, trust, right? I'm like, I wonder if there's a frequency 3:16. And so, like I said, I'm not a scientist. This is way over my head, but I know enough to see that metal exposed to light frequency at 3.16, and it creates a phenomenon. It's amazing. Like, I'm not going to go into it because, like I said, I don't understand all this stuff, but there is a lot of stuff behind it, and it creates light and it emanates things, and it's just, it's a whole nother study in itself, right? 316 is required to excite. It's just a high level of energy. Okay. Healing bells. Okay. Oh, nearly done. Healing bells. Check this out. This is what I was talking about with. Let's see if we can play this. Oh.
if you sit in a bell and someone hits it and it begins to resonate, you can begin to heal like that, because sound frequency instantaneously heals the body. Similar to chanting. If you any sound effect will begin to instantly structure all the body at the same time. That's what used to happen in the cathedrals. They would ring the bells or they would play the pipe organs, and all of the cells in the body would instantaneously become structured, which would instantly heal them. But they had to get rid of the pipe organs, which are made from lead, which is interesting, and they had to get rid of the bells, because both of those can heal people. Now imagine if a bell of the size was ringing in a cathedral. Now imagine the frequency that would come out of the cathedral into the town. You could heal the entire town instantaneously just by ringing that bell in the cathedral. That's why they had to get rid of them. They had to break all those bells. All the bells you ever look up. Just type in like bell in whatever country or city you're in, and notice how all the bells have a crack in them and they're broken. I wonder why that is. And people would say, oh, it's a conspiracy and it's just made up. No, there's intention. There's intention to get rid of these things so that we're dependent on a sick care system. Why did they destroy all the bells after?
Okay, like seriously, brothers and sisters, this is all just starting to make sense. All the cathedrals, all the bells, remember in the old towns, they used to ring them at 9, 12, 3 and 6, right? And because towns used to be scattered with churches all around the outskirts of towns, right? Imagine them all ringing that bell at the same time. Those towns would be in a healing frequency at all times. And look, I'll show you. You know, America has this Liberty Bell, okay? Big crack in it. Just like, this guy was explaining, you can type in bell in any city around the world and they all have these cracks in it. They're huge lead bells, brothers and sisters. They don't just crack. But, they had to destroy them. They had to destroy them because Satan is ruling now. Satan is ruling now. But that's okay. We're nearly home, brothers and sisters. We're nearly there. Now, I'll just read this. The bell was commissioned. This is the Liberty Bell, right? The bell was commissioned in 1752 by Peniswala Provincial Assembly from London-based firm Leicester and Pack. Later renamed the Whitechapel Bell Foundry, and was cast with the lettering "Proclaim Liberty throughout all the land." Oh my goodness, I'm just reading this now. "Unto the inhabitants thereof." A biblical reference from the book of Leviticus. And not only that, because just as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is literally the what Jesus Christ was reading in the temple when he opened the scroll, reading from the book of Isaiah. I've come to proclaim liberty to the captives. This is amazing, right? And so they're going from the book of Leviticus 25:10, and that's the Jubilee. That's the Jubilee, brothers and sisters, the Jubilee bell, okay, or the trumpet. The bell first cracked when rung after its arrival in Philadelphia. Interesting. And was twice recast by the local workmen John Pass and John Stowe, whose last names appear on the bell. In its early years, the bell was used to summon lawmakers to legislative sessions and to alert citizens about public meetings and proclamations. Although no immediate announcement was made of the Second Continental Congress, Lee's resolution, the vote for independence on July 2nd, 1776, or its unanimous adoption of the United States Declaration of Independence 2 days later on July 4, 1776, it is most likely that the first ringing of the Liberty Bell was on July 8th in 1776, when, along with other bells in Philadelphia, the Declaration of Independence was first read to the public. While no contemporary account of the Liberty Bell's ringing exists, most historians believe the Liberty Bell was among the bells rung that day. And they're saying that the explanation of why it split developed in the 1940s after nearly 90 years of hard use. Like, what a load of bullcrap. Okay, but brothers and sisters, they went around and they destroyed all the bells. Okay, they went around and destroyed the bells that created the frequency. I mean, look at the Tibetan monks. They have, and I had one of them a few years ago. It's like a little sound bowl, and you go dong, and then move the stick around, and it's like, and it makes this beautiful sound. And they demonize all this stuff, and now I understand why. Okay, and also too, is that? Oh yeah. Okay, so because I was looking at the Liberty Bell, instantly I was reminded of, what does it say here? It was commissioned in 1752, right, and then it was rung in 1776 on July the 4th, right, Independence Day. And this is where it's at, brothers and sisters. This is my guess of where we are in time and how close we are to the end of time. Okay, my greatest guess, and there's so much more to learn, and I'm just a human, a fallible human, okay? But from my research and my study, my guessing, I truly believe that roughly July 4th in 1776, when the Independence Day, when I believe that the Statue of Liberty is actually a dedication and an homage to Satan's little season beginning. Because when you have a look at that statue, at the bottom on her feet, you can see her sandal. There's a chain which has been unchained, like it's broken chain on her foot. No one seems to mention that. And, she's holding it's actually a he, but, Liberty's holding a light, which is, Satan is like an angel of light, right? And he's the light bearer, illumination, Illuminati, all this rot. Anyway, as you can see down here, this is a Mithra. There's a statue of Lucifer, okay, and it's exactly copied to make the Statue of Liberty. It's very obvious when you look at it. Very, very obvious, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's very, very obvious, right? Here we have the painting of Lucifer in 1797. Exactly the same facial structure, brothers and sisters. Look at the nose. Let's just bring this up here. Okay, look at the nose. It's the same face. This is a homage to Lucifer, brothers and sisters, without a shadow of a doubt, okay? Without a shadow of a doubt. Here we have Helios Christos, the so-called sun god, worshipped by Constantine, okay? Worshipped by Constantine. Look at these. That is a homage to Satan. No one can tell me any different. Okay, so I wrote here some notes to finish off. Is it possible that Satan's little season began in 1776 with the dedication of the statue, and the short season is 1/4 of 1,000 years that Christ had in the millennial reign? So in other words, 250 years, because that's 1/4 of 1,000 years, right? So I believe Satan's short season is 250 years. Okay, so that means 250 years plus 1776 will end in the year 2026. Okay, 2 years away. That's not long. Okay, now get this. This is amazing, brothers and sisters, and I really want you to have an open mind about this and think about this. Just think logically about this, because I was talking to Mum and Dad, because they believe in a future millennial reign, and all this stuff. But they, Father gave them an ear to listen to me and to just go, that's interesting, which is amazing for my parents. If I can get that out of them and make them at least just think and question, then that's awesome, okay? So, imagine if the predicted programming of the aliens, or the alien abductions or invasion, right, which has billions of Christians saying they're not aliens but fallen angels. What if, brothers and sisters, it's really the New Jerusalem and the camp of the saints? Could this be why NASA is spending trillions of dollars every year to create weapons to attack the camp of the saints and their heavenly home. And this is why Revelation states, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and he shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. And they went up to the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. Brothers and sisters, is this why NASA has spent trillions of dollars every year? That's I don't know where the budget's coming from for that, but I know they have trillions of dollars a year, right, to create. I mean, look, Trump's with its Space Force, okay, and they get trillions of dollars a year to create weapons and, spacecrafts and space stations and whatever else BS they decide to tell us. And this is the agenda of a globe spinning ball Earth. They need this distraction to make us believe that we're on a spinning ball Earth going 1,000 miles an hour, floating through space, whatever. When the realistic fact is we're on a flat plane with a dome and a firmament over us, right? But this is brilliant what they've done, And remember George Bush Sr., he famously said this, when he talked about the New World Order. He said, we need an existential crisis to unite the whole world together to bring the whole world together. So, in other words, we need an alien invasion. In other words, we need to come together when we look like we're being attacked from the aliens. Now, brothers and sisters, what if we've got it all wrong? What if there's no so-called fallen angels, that are coming, but it really is, the heavenly city. The heavenly city appears because in the book of Esdras, second book of Esdras, it says that the city that was hidden shall be seen. Okay? Now, this is amazing, brothers and sisters. Just think about this. Think about the predictive programming they've done. A very, very good job they have by saying, and having all these Christians going around and preaching, these aren't aliens, but they're fallen angels. And then so even the Christians are going to be deceived, brothers and sisters, and they're going to fight against the heavenly kingdom. Because it says, the four corners of the earth, and gathered them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea, and they went up to the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints. Now, what if this camp of the saints is where I said the magnetic North Pole, which is near Siberia, and this is a perfect, another perfect thing that why the whole world is like, well, I hate Russia, and, we've got to, this is why they're giving weapons to Ukraine and giving them all this money and to take out Russia. And think about it, brothers and sisters. Just think about this theory. Okay, so I wrote, now if the Garden of Eden, or the Camp of the Saints, is truly at the North Pole, which is on its way to Siberia and Russia, wouldn't this explain why there's so much propaganda against Russia? So there is a legitimate reason for the whole world, the nations in the four quarters of the earth, to gather together against the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. Okay. This has always been on my mind too, okay? There's a documentary out over a decade ago called The Kill Shot. It was about an ex-military man trained in remote viewing. Okay, so what remote viewing is basically a bunch of people, they could remote view into different areas of, the enemy's camp and stuff like this. It's whatever kind of magic it is, whatever it may be, but they really do exist, okay, remote viewing. Okay, so they got together one day to see if they could remote view into the future to see what they thought would be the prosperity of the world which in turn ended up showing them a number of catastrophic events leading up to the final card called the kill shot. And I always remember this, and it's just got all put together for me today. So in this last event, they saw a battlefield and many millions of men fighting. And then all of a sudden they look up, they're absolutely fearful, they throw down their weapons and they go home. And that was the end. They didn't see anything further into the future after that. That was the end. That's why they call it the kill shot, the end, right? And so basically he also prophesied about 8 different things that lead up prior to this kill shot, right? Now, this particular guy, he believes it's a nuclear weapon, which is going to kill millions of people. That's what he thinks he's seen. But I'm like, did he see the final battle of the camp of the saints? And then, God comes out and just devours them with fire? Is that what he's seen? Not a nuclear war, but the fire of God coming down from heaven? Okay, so you can go to thekillshot.com and check that out. Actually, we'll just do that now. I'll show you this little video here. Don't know if I can make it any bigger, but you'll be able to hear it.
There are those that have seen the future. They've seen our disasters and our wars. For years, these remote viewers were a part of a military research program, accurately foreseeing the outcome of global events. But when they expected to see a future of prosperity, what they saw was our end. Now, the military officer in charge of this top-secret program shatters the silence, revealing to the public what the governments of the world have known all along.
The Norwegian government has finished construction of the Doomsday Vault to protect the world's plant species as sort of a modern-day Noah's Ark. More than 100 countries have backed the project.
To warn you.
Viewers began to pick up on a very large event that at first I thought was a nuclear war.
To prepare you.
It caused the deaths of millions of people. I don't want to believe it.
To help you survive.
Knowing where to go with your last tank of gas is so important.
The kill shot.
All right, so you know what I mean? Like, this is the last thing that he saw. He saw the end of the world. And it's very interesting that, he's seen all these people on a battlefield look up to the sky, have an absolute look of fear on his face, and they drop their weapons and they go home. And then he just saw, what he says, like a nuclear weapon, and millions of people died. I'm telling you, this is crazy. Okay, this is an article from July 23 in the year 2013. Edward Snowden, solar flare, kill shot, cataclysm imminent. Okay, this is just interesting because, Snowden is over in Russia, okay, in Moscow, Russia. Edward Snowden, hacker, fugitive, and former National Security Agency contractor, revealed Tuesday that a series of solar flares is set to occur in October, killing hundreds of millions of people. Documents provided by Snowden prove that, as of 14 years ago, Central Intelligence Agency's remote viewers knew that the event was inevitable. Ever since, the world's government have quietly been trying to prepare for the sweeping global famine to result. Speaking from his room in Sheremetyevo Airport Hotel Novotel, Snowden revealed that government's preparation for October's catastrophic solar flares have been to only limit avail. To only limit avail. The flares result, he said, are known casually throughout the global and whatever. I'll just cut the rest of the article off. But something's going to go down. And I think all of these things, brothers and sisters, are a cover-all and a cover-up for what is about to happen. And, you know, it just makes so much sense. It just makes so much sense. It's the frequency. So I'm going to finish this video up by saying that I think this is the key. I think instead of worrying continuously and looking for the end and looking for the tribulation to start, looking for the mark of the beast, looking for the temple to be built, looking for the red heifers, etc., etc., I think we all got to go on a world cleanse, cleansing ourselves from the world. Like, you don't have to, I'm just saying this is what I really feel led to do. I really feel led to just become a fruitarian, I think they call it. And because, you know, again, they demonize fruit. Don't have too much fruit because it's got sugar in it, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, fruit, living fruit, water. I'm going to change the music I listen to. I'm going to listen to more frequency-based you know, sounds and things like this. I'm going to start meditating. I've never meditated in my life. I pray, yes, and I'm thankful for this and for that. And, you know, I find praying, you know, quite often you're like, oh, please God, let this happen or let that happen. And, you know, you kind of worry and you bring your worries to the Father. But, you know, have we ever thought and stopped just to meditate and be thankful and grateful and just to immerse ourselves in just gratitude, patience, charity, kindness, lovingness, and thinking about people and thinking about, you know, our internal temples and, you know, fixing the temple and creating a millennial style building within our own bodies where, you know, the presence of the Holy Spirit can reside. Like, imagine the possibilities that we will be able to do. This is probably why we can't heal the sick and raise people from the dead and all this kind of stuff, because we're not on this frequency level. You know, that just occurred to me now. I'm like, well, maybe that's the reason why we're not raising people from the dead and we're not doing all these wonderful miracles, is because we're so far from that perfect frequency. But yeah, so this is where I'm at, brothers and sisters, and I pray this video has blessed you. I know it's probably spun a lot of people out, particularly when I said, you know, it's a possibility that Yahweh and Elohim aren't the true gods, you know, our Father in heaven that Yeshua Jesus Christ represented. And to me it makes sense. You know, a lot of blood, a lot of killing, a lot of massacre, a lot of wrath. But, you know, when Jesus came to represent his Father, it was love, beautiful kindness, charity, perfection. You know, it's I don't know. I'm going to leave all of this in your hands, and I pray that you look into it a bit more for yourself. You know, don't take my word for it. Study it for yourself. You know, I know a lot of people don't have time, and you know, I know I said I was going to try and make this video short, but when have I ever made a video short? It's never going to happen. But I don't know when I'll be back doing another video, so, you know, good. I'm glad it's long, so I can get it all in. But I just hope you have an open mind about this. I pray that it blesses you and gives you something to think about. But this healing stuff, this frequency, the cymatics, the millennial reign buildings and the kingdom that, you know, that was. And the fact that, you know, I truly believe that the Statue of Liberty there was a dedication and homage to Satan when he was released. And so hopefully, prayerfully, that's why we're seeing everything that we are now, like with the deceptions of pharmakia and sorcery and knowledge going to and fro with the internet. That's the only time in history that knowledge has been able to be transferred so quickly. I pray that, you know, we really are close to that ending time. And, you know, let's read what happens then. So we're going to go to Revelation 20. And, you know, we're not far off, brothers and sisters. We are not far off at all. I don't believe. So we've got, they went up to the breadth of the earth and compassed the saints, compassed the camp of the saints, and the beloved city in fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. Okay, and look what happened straight after. The devil that was deceived, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire, where the beast and the false prophet are. And he shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. See, the beast and the false prophet are already in the lake of fire already. So, that even says a lot in itself. And then what's this? I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away. This is the end, brothers and sisters. We're right here. We're right here. Okay, so it doesn't matter about a pre-tribulation rapture because we're right here. And, people want to say, well, that means we've got to go through the last 7 years of tribulation, whatever. No, that's nowhere written in the Bible that there's a 7-year tribulation. Nowhere written in the Bible. And what I need you to remember is Luke chapter 10 is that Yeshua Jesus Christ himself said to us that I give you power over all evil, over the serpents and the snakes and over all evil, and nothing shall hurt you. This is why we've got to realize how blessed we are and be thankful and meditate on that. We've got nothing to worry about, nothing to be fearful of. We've just got to keep being grateful, be thankful, be kind, be charitable, be loving, be patient, and emanate that frequency so that others are drawn to that frequency and just the presence of God around you. Okay, that's all we've got to do. And I pray with all my heart, soul, and mind that this revelation I've had about the the short season ending in the year 2026, I pray that is true. I pray it's sooner. But what I'm saying is I believe that we're here, and as soon as this goes down, brothers and sisters, it's, look at the next thing. After the great white throne judgment, New Jerusalem comes down, and then it's forever. There's no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying, no more pain. The former things have passed away. So we're at the end, the beautiful end. And so we've got nothing to fear. This is incredible. So I'm going to leave you with that, like I said a million times. I hope it's blessed you. I hope Father blesses you. I hope the Son blesses you. And I hope you research and study for yourself. And I hope this uplifts you, because this is great news. I don't think this is bad, because a lot of people think, I wish you'd come back to the pre-trib. You gave us so much hope. This is much better, because this is the truth. This is makes much more sense than, looking at this date, looking at that date for years and years and coming and going. This makes much more sense, doesn't it? You've got to agree. It makes much more sense. Anyway, I don't know when I'll make my next video, or when the presence of Father really comes on my heart to do such a thing. But until then, if I don't see you in the next video, I may see you in the skies. God bless you. I love you lots, and I'll see you next time. Bye.